Hi, I'm Ken. We're going to do something a little different today, but first let's take a look at my stamp collection. A friend gave me a collection of stamps that they'd inherited and they didn't know what to do with, so I've been busily going through those stamps to try and see what's in them. I'll give you a full report on that later, but let's start out with this particular set from Botswana. I'm going to take a minute off camera and rearrange these and show you what I've got. But anyway, these are the first stamps that I've gotten from Botswana, the only stamps I have in my collection from Botswana. Let's take a look. Okay, here we go. Let's do a little review of what we have here. Some nice stamps from Botswana. I have never seen any of these before. Nice little series stamp. You know I collect regular issues, and so I think these fit nicely in my collection. We've got these here. Another little series. That's nice. But the real gem to these for me are these definitive series of stones that come out of minerals that come out of Botswana. An agate. I can't say all these names. Stibelite. Marble. Diamonds. Jasper. Quartz. And citrine. But anyway, those are the nice stamps from Botswana. I'm really thrilled to have these. What a nice set, and there are a whole bunch more of these series in the set that I'm really kind of excited about. So you might be wondering why I'm doing a different format today. The point is that I tend to script out my episodes, and when I do that, it takes a lot of time to kind of plan out what I'm going to say. But part of the reason that I started this YouTube channel was to have somebody to share the things I was excited about finding. And I was finding that scripted format is great, but it doesn't let me communicate and share those things that I'm finding as I find them. So this is an attempt at trying to share some things that I found pretty exciting. These Botswana stamps are part of them. There are plenty more in that set that I acquired besides these Botswana stamps, and I'll put together a full scripted episode of what I found in that package later. But for now, let's move on to the next thing. The next thing I found was I acquired a trash bag. I think that's the best way to describe it. A trash bag of stamps on paper and off paper. It was about 40 pounds of loose stamps, envelopes, cards, etc., all from classic era, mostly US classic era kinds of stamps. And oh my goodness, they're a mess. Let me show you a hint of what was in there. Okay, so the 40-pound trash bag I got of stamps was in pretty rough shape. That bag had 3 white trash bags inside of it. Each was sealed shut, and inside of them was a whole bunch of loose stamps in various states of decomposition and moldiness and basic yuck. Inside of that bag was also a number of looser things, but I will give you just a hint of what I was able to pull out of those white trash bags in this package right here. So this package right here is a sampling of the kinds of things that were in that. You can see kind of just how gunky these were. Let me see if I can kind of pull some of these up for you. Where's the camera? There we go. So you get a sense of some real gunky paper. And the bags were just filled with these things. Now, these are the best examples I was able to pull out of that bag. And I feel like I'm kind of on a bit of a rescue mission. It seems like somebody has spent a lot of time collecting and accumulating a lot of nice stamps. And it's a shame now that they've fallen into disrepair. Look here, right? That's the kind of thing that was sitting in the bag. And that is one of the most rough examples of that stamp I've ever seen. Really filthy. And so I'm on a bit of a rescue mission, trying to save these things. This is the on-paper version. I've got about an equal amount, maybe twice as much of off-paper that I've been soaking in dish liquid to try and clean them up a little bit and get some of this gunk off them. But we'll come back and show you some of the things that are there. Besides that, there were 3 or 4 Ziploc bags that were already kind of clean and separate from the gunk. Here's an example. This is a reasonably good example of the kinds of things that were in that bag. You can just see kind of junk, and if you look down at the bottom, you can just see shredded paper and shredded stamps all crammed in there. So I've been meticulously going through this, trying to make sure that I pull out things that are in good shape, that aren't too dirty, and rescue them. Here's another bag. This one's a little bit more modern, full of more modern stamps. Still awful gunky, and I've got to kind of figure it out and pull it out. And then also pulled out of the bag, these are some revenue stamps that I pulled out of the lot. A lot of duplicates, but still they didn't deserve to go into the trash. So anyway, I pulled out what I could out of that 40-pound bag. I think I pulled maybe 5 pounds, maybe less out of it that I'm gonna rescue. And we'll try and see what I can do with them and save some of these stamps. As I'm looking through this package, I think you'd all hope that I'd find some really amazing treasures. And I have found some things that I find treasured to me, things that are pretty exciting, but nothing that's really particularly valuable. So I'm pulling out what I can, trying to save those for future collectors, trying to add some things to my own collection. But let's look at some of the things that I found particularly interesting so far, and then we'll go from there. This is an example of one of the things that was loose in the package. There were maybe 50 of these kinds of sheets. Most of them had just about the same stamps on them. Not exactly the same, but pretty similar. And you'll see there's some real nice stamps in here. Some nice early France, some nice early Netherlands. Look here, right here, we've got a nice penny red. In addition to that, there's a really early Victoria Canadian stamp, some nice Victoria and stamps from Great Britain, some nice German Reichpost stamps, and some really nice American stamps. But also in each one of these sheets, there are things like this, which are just destroyed, nice classic era stamps, and it's a shame. Here's another example of one of those. It's also got, let's get the light on this a little bit better. It's also got one of the penny reds. This one stands out because it's not the ones with the letters in the top, but with the stars on top. So that's a much nicer version of that stamp. Certainly worth rescuing, although it's in pretty rough shape. On top of that, we've got, again, more of the German Reichpost stamps, some French stamps. What else have we got? Some German, some Great Britain, a Belgian stamp, some French stamps, and a Swedish stamp. So some nice things there. Let's also show you this. There were maybe 100 of these cards. This is about the best quality of it. This is an advertising card for a distillery, and this is what they would send out to customers when they were coming to the area to try and sell them in this case, the Harvard Rye. On the back of this is a postcard. So this one has never been sent. And you can see that it's kind of tarnished around the edges. It's not so good a card, but still it's a decent card and a decent example of an advertising cover of the day. This is another one of those kinds of advertising cards. This one's a little bit older and a little bit more interesting to me. Anyway, nice calligraphy on the front, really rough shape again, mottled and dirty. On the back of this, let's see if we can flip this over. On the back of this, with a change of address card, essentially. But this card sent in 1874. Here's another card I found kind of interesting that I was able to rescue. See, it's a nice hand-drawn cover. And on the back of it, I haven't really figured out why this is an interesting cover. Apparently the person wound up in the hospital after doing a slip and fall, but anyway, they wrote a little cartoon on the back of this card, and I think that's kind of fun. Next thing in the pile is this first day of issue from Monaco, a royal wedding issue, nicely sealed in plastic. There was another Monaco first day of issue card that was all crumpled up, and I'll probably take the stamps off that one. But what a nice card with flown directly from Monaco via Pan American World Airlines. So a really nice cover from Monaco. The other thing I want to point out is some of these, I'm going to pause here and set these out. So this is really only a sample of these 2-cent Vermilion stamps that I got out of the set. These seemed really worth rescuing to me. These are not particularly expensive stamps, but they're not inexpensive either. But I wanted to point out in particular that these are really nice cancels that would be a shame to be lost. Let me see if I can do this. This cancel right here is really interesting. You see kind of a V over a V. That's a Masonic symbol. And so the postmaster in this case made their own postmark, and they made up a Masonic symbol on top of that one, so that's interesting. Same here, this is that same V on V, a square and compasses cancel on top of that one. We've got a bullseye cancel here, we've got a cork mesh here, we've got an 8-way star here, and a 6-way star here. So anyway, these are really nice stamps. It seemed a shame to lose these into trash, but there you go. We've rescued these out of the trash as well. So I'm really happy with this. The other thing I wanted to show you came out of this book right here. This book, property of Buy Some Stamp Company. It's in essence on approval stock sheet. So this is the way they would have sold stamps. There's still a few stamps in here towards the end. Let me see. Yeah, there's some Greek stamps still in it. What else have we got in here? So it was a pretty empty book, but it wasn't completely empty. 2 hungry stamps that we have to kind of pull out of there and rescue. But the important thing in there is inside of that first page, let me get these out of here. Inside of that first page was some stamps from early France. And since our last episode was about early France issues, I want to show you what I got out of there. Remember that in that first set of France, I had shown you my series stamps, and when I showed you those before, I had literally just the first 3 copies of 58. Well, I got all these other stamps except for this 158 out of that book. So kind of an exciting extension of my collection. Someone in the comments had mentioned that they were hoping that they'd get their first one of these. And I said, well, don't buy it. Just, keep looking through lots and find them in these old lots. And that's exactly what happened here. So I'm really happy with this extension. 5 cents, really nice star cancel here. These are all different, both values and designs on them. So really nice series collection. So I'm thrilled with that. The other thing I want to show you is an extension to my Napoleon issues. Before I had, I think, 2 copies of these, and I got all these out of that new set. So I'm really thrilled with these 2 pages, and I thought you might want to see how a lot like this is a great way to expand your collection and find some really nice stamps. Now, again, these are not particularly expensive stamps, but finding them in this, extending that collection that we just talked about last week, it was really a joy. Before I finish up here, I want to do a shout out to Silk on the Web. He's one of the stamp video producers that I really like following and enjoy watching his collection grow. One of the things he did recently was share some stamps that were his favorites, and I thought I would kind of chime in finally with this collection on one of my most favorite stamps. And so in honor of Silk and in also some joy of finding this stamp in the lot that I just got, rescued a whole bunch of these. Let me turn the camera around. So this is a 1901 Pan American issue. This is the Long Island Express train. It is my favorite stamp of all time. This looks mint, but it's not. Certainly I had to clean this one off. It's had to be washed and cleaned, but it's in really good shape. Really nice example of my favorite stamp. And then what was most impressive to me was not just this stamp, but inside of that package, I've been pulling out copies of this just to give you a sense of what's going on. So inside of that package were all these. I think I've got about 2/3 of them cleared out now. So anyway, my favorite stamp in the world, and now I literally have a hoard of these things. I'll tell you, as a stamp video maker, occasionally I'm going to find times where I'm sending things to various people, and when I do, I think as a gift to everybody, I think everybody should have one of these stamps, and so I will put one of these in any package I send out to you. If you ever want to contact me about something, you can find my email address in the About Me page. So that's all the sharing for today. I hope you appreciate this new format. I'm not going to do it all the time, but I didn't want to let scripting and formality stop me from sharing some of the things I'm enjoying in my collection. So from time to time, I'm going to put together one of these unscripted and I hope you'll grant me permission for that. If you like these videos, please let me know in the comments below. If you prefer the scripted only, that's fine to share as well. I'm eager to make this channel what it should be for you as viewers as much as what I want to share myself. Anyway, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed it. We'll come back with more videos soon.